Today's Spotlight on Naperville is brought to you in part by Welcome back to Spotlight on Naperville. I'm Nancy Wearsome, and we're going to talk with people from Family Shelter Service. Delighted to have you. Judy Carabo is Executive Director, the new Executive Director, a few months anyway. So good to have you, Judy.
Thank you.
BJ Chimenti is a board member, so good to have you. And Chief Brad Bloom is your Hinsdale Police Chief,
right,
and also the Board President for Family Shelter
Correct.
Service. So good to have you as well. Well, Judy, let's begin by talking about Family Shelter Service and the impact it has on our community.
Well, Family Shelter Service provides such important services to the community throughout DuPage County. So we provide healing for victims of domestic violence. We have an emergency crisis shelter. We have 2 intermediate housing programs, court advocates in the county court building, counseling, and case management.
Wow, that is a lot. That is a lot. It's such great work that you're doing, so important. Now, Chief Bloom, tell us about domestic violence from a law enforcement perspective.
Well, unfortunately, I wish it was something that was decreasing, but we're really seeing an opposite effect. And in most of the communities, we're seeing increases in our responses to domestic violence cases. I will tell you from firsthand experience that domestic violence is in every community in DuPage County. It crosses all demographic lines, and it doesn't seem, the numbers don't seem to be improving. We seem to be going on more and more domestic violence related calls.
Wow, that's, I'm sure, discouraging, but all the more reason that we need what you're doing. And do you think people fully understand the impact domestic violence has on a community?
You know, I unfortunately still think that we talk about domestic violence in whispers if we're talking about it at all. So it's not something that the community, we're not seeing it as though it's a problem that our neighbors experience. We always want to see it as it's someone else. Certainly last year for us, we received over 10,000 calls to our hotline. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence. This is a pretty widespread problem, and I think one of the ways that we can combat that is to begin to talk about domestic violence in the open.
Sure. And talking about those calls, now BJ, you're a longtime hotline volunteer.
I am.
Tell us about your experience with that.
Well, the hotline is sort of the first step, usually, that a woman will take. And as soon as you pick up the phone, what I think of it as, you've almost gone on her journey with her to some extent. Your job is to find out really what's happening in her life and to get her to talk about it because, again, as Judy was referring to, it's a secret problem. Keeping it secret is mandatory for her. So just to take that first step, and very often there's no solution for her, she's just getting it out. And the thing I'm most concerned with when that's happening is how lethal is the situation? Do I need to really insist that she bring it into shelter?
Sure, or involve someone like you.
Police, right.
Unfortunately. But you offer a lot of hope. So tell us about the hope you're bringing.
You know, I think one of the things that's most inspiring is to see the courage our women have just to make the first call, to take those steps, to move to more safety. And because of that, it's so wonderful to see women helping each other and really inspiring each other to continue to take steps. And I think another thing that is so amazing to see is our women, I've been in this job a short time, but I've heard them consistently say how awed and inspired they are that complete strangers care enough to help them. And that's what motivates them to continue those steps towards their journey to independence.
Wow, that is incredible. And your website is incredible. And some of the journaling that they have shared, I think it's good for community members to read, to get a better understanding of some of the challenges people are facing through domestic violence. So I applaud you and them for sharing their stories because they're very, very powerful.
Thank you.
Very powerful. Now, in order to support these programs, you're having a gala, a celebration of hope. Tell us about that.
It is April the 11th at 6:30 at the Abington, and I bring that up because anyone in the general viewing audience is more than welcome to attend. And this year the theme is Carnival, and we're using the mask as sort of a piece of how we're marketing it, because we view the whole syndrome really as a lady gets up, puts on the mask, hides behind the secrecy, protects herself from anyone knowing, because that's not allowed, and she goes out every day. So we've kind of used the mask to help our guests who come for a good time, but for a very serious cause, to understand a little bit better how these women are feeling and how they cope.
I give you so much credit because people are always looking for fundraising opportunities. They do need to fund the incredible programs. And so to be able to find something like that that really represents the challenge faced, I think is incredible. Just amazing. So if someone would need help, what do they do?
The number that they need to know, the first place that they go to is to call our hotline. And if I may share that number, it's 630-469-5650. And it's an important, and I know it's a difficult call to make, but there's a community of people ready to surround women who are looking to move towards safety.
And we're going to leave it there. Thank you all for being on and the incredible work that you're doing. We so appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, more Spotlight on Naperville, so don't go anywhere.